Hey everybody, my name is Pluto, and today we have a very special video. This is Final Tragedy 120's plus final boss. Yes, that is right. For the first time ever, Dream Edition has been completed normally. Or not normally, from second run basically. Not a full completion, obviously still missing 2 stars at this point, but it is a completion where the game can be beaten with the second run ending, which is identical to the first run ending, but it's cool, it's awesome, and honestly, this level doesn't have a whole lot of jumps that are interesting to talk about. And the reason I say that is not because it's not filled with hard jumps, because it absolutely is. This is my personal 3rd hardest star, I believe, but more so because this is mostly just star 5 plus. This is basically star 5 with a couple extra jump to get some coins and a couple extra enemy kills, but for the most part, what's hard about this star is hard about star 5, with the exception of the ending, which is very, very extended, adding on the nerves and stuff. It's pretty rough, but overall, the star is, yeah, it's just a derivative of star 5, which may make you think, oh wow, if this is just star 5 again, this probably didn't go that bad as a grind. No! This grind went horrible! This has been my worst grind, like, ever. This grind went so bad, it made me so miserable, dude. I've never been this, like, distraught at a grind and this, like, stressed out because of a grind. This grind just destroyed me, and the reason for that is because imagine a grind where every single day you have the potential to get a new PB, and instead you just spend 2 hours floundering like a loser-ass fish who can't do anything because you're a fish who doesn't have the cognitive brain cells to do anything. That was me. I was that fish. I'm a fish. And that makes me mad. I did not like being a fish. But this grind was basically like 3 months of being a fish, and then one day when I finally became a human. So, you know, this is a horrible analogy, but regardless, this is pretty much what the experience was like. So, yeah, this grind did not go well. I didn't actually keep track of the time for this grind because I didn't anticipate it would be that interesting. But it definitely took a while, and a lot of that was practicing the big jump triple invis, which between star 5 and now I have gotten so much fucking so much more knowledgeable and better at triple invis, to the point where I've gotten it 5 times in a row, not once but twice. So, which is a massive accomplishment for me. Just means a lot, and I'm very proud of that personally. But enough about how the grind went. I can talk about that more later. Let's talk about the actual physicality of the star. What is a star? Well, it's a 120 coin star, which means that the route is pretty up to your choice. The stage has a total of about 200 coins, which make the star sound pretty lenient. But remember that 40 of those coins are coming from red coins, and a lot of these coins are coming from enemies that are very difficult to kill, or straight up impossible to kill, or coins that aren't very accessible because of their location requiring a lot of hard jumps. Most notably, I couldn't really find a route that would be able to consistently get 120 coins before triple invis, which meant that, yes, the hardest jump in the game needs to be done in the star, which is very unfortunate. This route does have some RNG because there's going to be some times when we need to kill snuffets and other enemies over quicksand, which means that not every coin will be obtainable every single time. So that's going to create a couple problems for us, but it's not really that big of a deal. Most of the time you'll be fine with RNG. The main thing that RNG determines is how many coins you need to get at the top of the stage, which you usually need to get most of them, but if you get really, really unlucky, you won't have enough coins. So most of the star is just going to be us scrounging for the easy coins. Coins like this one, where it's like you just don't need to go through this. You may be wondering how this invisible wall sequence works. Basically, the walls are entirely solid except for the small gap between the 2 visible parts on the left side, where Mario can jump through and cleanly get into the side. Just make sure your angle's not strong enough so that you can actually make it to the walls without a first need. Drop down here, and now we get the shell, and we've pretty much escaped spawn officially. We're getting to the section, and it's shell time. So, shell section is pretty simple. Just enjoy the break, and then we can get to the next part of the level. I don't really have a lot to say about the jumps because I've already talked about a lot of them before, but towards the end I'll have a little more to say. The shell part's always a little anxious, but it's actually quite a bit easier than you might think it is. There I use a little skip, as always, to get past that, and this time I want these scuttlebutt coins, up to 33 coins. As for coins on the actual extended shell path, you could get 7 more with a column of 5, except you can't actually get all 5 of that column. Then there's a red coin. I would not recommend them. They kind of take a while and they're not really worth it or needed. So now we have this part of the stage which has a lot of, a very dense section of tricky jumps. There's pretty much 2 major stretches of hard jumps. There's this one, and then later on the stage there's going to be another one which is even harder. We already saw those hexagon wall kicks, which are pretty difficult, or not hexagon, pentagon wall kicks, which are pretty difficult because the depth perception is literally non-existent. You literally cannot see the walls. Then this transitions directly into these precision jumps. You might notice that Mario has no shadow. The reason for the lack of shadow is because this game fucking sucks, and this level is too big to handle a shadow, which means that this particular level, if you're too low, you won't have a shadow, which also causes some other things. It's the reason why those Chuckies couldn't move and Snuffits can't really shoot you. It's because of this. Unfortunately, it does not stop this homing amp. This homing amp pretty much adds a layer of luck to this jump because depending on whether or not it circles above you or starts randomly chasing you will greatly affect what you can do here. And because this ground is actually slippery, you need a punch cancel long jump in order to get across this. A double jump kick will not cut it. So this jump is ultra bullshit, but it's pretty consistent if you get good at it. I know there's a lot of info, but we're almost out of the woods. We need to go into this jump, which getting back does not require a firstie, but a firstie is heavily recommended to make it over without it being ultra precise. Just pause buffer for that. Jump back on the slope, and then we have one last final section before it gets really juicy. Just do this little slope thing, come up here, and here is the juice I mentioned earlier. This jump is just cool. Line up with the white spot with the line on the slope, and then jump there. And this is all just a pseudo setup. It makes it pretty consistent. It's the kind of jump which when you first do it seems like it's like a 1% chance, but slowly becomes like a 110% chance. I still die to it sometimes though, so I guess it's like 110 minus like 20, so like 90%, but it's probably less than that, so probably like 60%. But I don't care, I haven't done a rigorous test on how difficult it is. It's difficult. It's probably difficult. I don't know. Anyways, keep going up here. We're actually going to get these coins from the Snuffit, believe it or not. We're going to do it by using this wall-to-wall kick. Thankfully, the Snuffit coins are going to be suspended in the air, so for long enough that with this wall kick we can actually get them. It's pretty rare to lose those coins. You'll get them most of the time, but on rare occasions you'll miss one. Just don't worry about it. Don't worry too much if you miss a coin, just try to take precautions to make it up. That jump's pretty precise. I think it's a 2-frame window to get that jump. And now that we're done with all this stuff, we can actually take a bit of a break because there's not really going to be any hard jumps for a while. Because there's not really any notable jumps, I'm going to talk about beating Dream Edition because it means a lot to me. When I started Dream Edition in 2019, I never thought this game would get as far as it would. I genuinely thought like this game would never get past like 120 stars maybe. Like I vividly remember saying that nobody will ever get a star in Course 12, and then Gion got a star in Course 12, and that shit like blew my mind. I still can't believe that happened. I still can't believe that I did it as well. And it's like, it's just so shocking all the progress that I still to this day have not really comprehended that I have Everlasting Encore Reds. And now I have to comprehend the fact that all of my effort has led up to this moment where I can say that I've beaten Dream Edition from the second run ending and gotten 180 stars, the final 10-star barrier. I genuinely cannot express how much that means to me. I'm just shocked. Really shocked at the fact that something like that is even like I can even say it because it feels unreal. It feels like it shouldn't be a thing, and yet I am currently here telling you about how much of a thing it is. You know, it's honestly shocking. It really is just honestly shocking, and I can't be more thankful for everyone who supported this journey and made it possible. I don't think I'll ever be able to find the words to describe how much this means to me because I literally grew up with this game. I matured with this game. I became a better person with this game. When I was depressed last summer and like completely miserable, I was still playing this game. I love this game. This game means more to me than I think anyone could like ever imagine. You know, like people have games that they like. People have games that they get attached to for the challenge, and people grind games, but Dream Edition is literally a game where it's like I have seen so much with it, and I have changed so much of it, and yet this game has just remained a constant of just something that I love playing, and I am going to be sad if I ever stop playing it, because I fucking love this game, dude. This game means more to me than I could ever word. I'm so happy that this game exists. This game has done so much for me, and I honestly think it's done a lot for Kaizo as a whole. And I know that's a controversial opinion. I know some people don't like Super Kaizo, but I honestly can't imagine Kaizo without a game like Dream Edition, for better or for worse, and I'm happy it exists. Also, let's take a moment to acknowledge how stupid what I did there was. I decided that I should turn on the slope because I wasn't sure if I was perpendicular, which was such a stupid decision. The fact that I didn't get punished for it is honestly a miracle, because I should have just been hard punished for that mistake and died as fuck. But what can you do? I didn't get punished for it, and this happened to be the attempt, so that's cool. Enough of emotional shit though, we have a couple more jumps to talk about. This heave-ho is a little worrying, but he actually gets stuck on the middle here. Here we're actually going to have some more RNG coins from a Snuffit. I believe in this particular instance I missed 1 coin from this guy, but it could be totally wrong. Let's find out. Yeah, I do miss 1 coin from this guy. So yeah, it's just completely RNG. If the coin goes into the quicksand, it's not a big deal, like I said. It does become a big deal if you're consistently missing coins, but you can expect to miss quite a few coins and you'll still have enough for 120s. Just make sure that you're getting every coin that you know how to get, and don't skip out on coins. Just, if there's a coin, go for it. There's a lot of Snuffits over air, like I said, and you're going to get bad RNG on some of them, and you're just going to miss coins, but there's nothing you can do about it, so just keep trucking and don't get discouraged. After all, it's not a big deal. In this particular attempt, the RNG was I had a total of 121 coins, which is pretty bad RNG, but keep in mind that I had good enough RNG that I could be a little sloppy towards the end, which meant that I wasn't playing as carefully as I probably should have, which almost cost me the attempt, by the way, but it didn't, so I learned nothing and received no consequences. So here we actually need to get these 5 coins on that slope. Thankfully, if you edge close to the coins and ground pound, you can get all 5 of them really easily. If you miss the coins, it's not a big deal. You can just hang out on the slope for a bit and get 4 of them. You can probably get the 5th one with a really good jump, but I personally haven't done it. I also haven't tried that hard, but you know, it's probably not worth it in an attempt to just be grinding slope jumps, considering that if you miss one, you're probably dead there because how slippery it is. We also need to get this red coin here, which is actually pretty easy. Just get a slight angle and jump for it. I don't even use D-pad cam because I'm cool like that. Then we can jump across this and go into just an extended walking sequence. We're nearing that second set of hard jumps which I mentioned earlier, so stay tuned for that, because that's going to be very exciting to talk about triple invis again. You know, the jump that I love so much and have spent like 50 hours on. Okay, so this jump is a little weird. I don't really have like a proper setup for it. Instead, I just kind of use muscle memory to know how much I need to hold up for this. These walls are kind of thin, but with the right camera, you can kind of tell what you're doing, and you'll have a good idea of when you're going to hit it or when you're not going to hit it. Plus, I have a visual cue for where to hit the wall, so I know what to do. Jump out on that. Easy peasy. There, I think I had to scratch my nose, I'm not sure, but I was itchy, I think. So we actually have to jump back here with this angle. I tried to find a way to do this without having to go all the way through the walking section, but I couldn't really find one, so that's one of the more RNG-based Snuffits. You can generally avoid the RNG if you have enough speed, so that way you can walk it quicker, but for the most part, that's one of the Snuffits where you're probably going to lose a lot of coins. Not the most likely to lose coins on Snuffit. There's actually a Snuffit after triple invis where you're going to lose coins basically every time. It's actually very hard to get both coins from him. So, yeah. Plus he's after triple invis, so you really don't want to be gambling for 2 coins, generally. So yeah, that's probably the second worst Snuffit. ignore that noise. I think I accidentally have Katse's stream. I do have Katse's stream open, and I haven't been able to hear the audio, and then his bits alert was super loud, so I heard it. Yeah. It might have picked up on my mic, but regardless, I have audio muted, so you probably didn't hear it. I hope you didn't hear it. I didn't point out that maneuver there on the slope, by the way. Just doing 2 kicks happens to land you up very nicely, so that way you can just make the jump. Don't even have to do the thin. Jump across there. And now we have this conglomerate of bullshit. If you want to, you can jump over to the star 4 path. You'd be able to get a couple coins there, most notably a Chuckya and a red coin. That's 7 coins, which is not really worth it in my opinion. Not enough to skip some really hard jumps considering, you know, this whole thing. Keep in mind that while my main goal was to get 120s, the side goal was also to beat the game, so I didn't really mind having to go super deep to get 120s because I kind of wanted to anyways, if that makes sense. I just wanted to beat the game because I thought it would have been really cool to pair them together. Which means that this is actually the only time in this game where I've paired the 120 coin star with something else. It was not a star, but I did pair it with something, which is kind of cool. Speaking with second one, by the way. These invisible thins here are pretty bad. It's worth noting that the QSLG is a 2-frame window, but I can just use a pause buffer to always get the second frame. And then here it's just these invis thins, which are pretty much 100% muscle memory. There's basically no like visual cue. Well, there is visual cues, but it's mostly just knowing where the walls are and how far away they are from each other, and then just having the muscle memory to know how much to hold right and left and up and stuff, or the time between pressing A. Then for this, I just use a visual cue to know where the thin is, so I can turn around here. Tricky jump, but not a jump that's going to be particularly scary. The worst thing about it is getting firsties, because you're gonna probably get them. I mean, you saw me get them there. Yeah, getting firsties here is bad. You do not want to get firsties on that jump, because if you get a firstie, it's just going to increase your chance of dying like really greatly, because your muscle memory is going to be fucked up on a jump that's entirely muscle memory oriented. Enough talking about jumps for babies, though. It's time for the jump that defines a stage and a star and my life. This jump is horrible. So this jump has been named Triple Invis. The reason it's been named Triple Invis is because it's a wall kick section that is layered on top of itself 3 times, and then the top 2 times are invisible. So it should really be double invis, but there are 3 of them. It's just one of them is visible, so Triple Invis. I think it's a nicer name. I'm just going to be blunt. This jump really sucks. This jump is a combination of muscle memory, actual memory, precision, I guess there is a layer of endurance because it's so long, and also this jump requires more discipline than like any jump ever that I've ever seen before. This jump requires you to be very knowledgeable about what you're doing, and it also requires you to have this mindset for improvement where it's like you can't like play this jump and just be like, oh, that jump is kind of bullshit, you know, I don't have to worry about that. No, every single time you die to this jump, you need to be thinking about what you were doing and how you can avoid that, and what part of the wall you were at, you know, where did you hit the wall, what frame wall kick did you get, or, you know, what could you maybe do to increase your chances of getting it. So this jump requires not only an insane amount of knowledge, but it also just requires just a ton of time to get good at and learn and get consistent at, and it is such a bullshit and horrible jump, and I hate this jump. I despise this jump, and in this grind, I only made it to this jump 4 times. Because when I said this grind went bad, I mean on the first day I got to the jump once, and then for the following weeks I couldn't get there again ever. It wasn't until the day I got the star that I finally got there again. And I got there a total of 3 times today, which is insane. Getting to Triple Invis 3 times in one day is really good, especially considering I had only played for 2 hours. That's super consistent, and on the 3rd time today, and the 4th time overall, I got past it. And this is where this star really gets fucky, dude. I cannot stand this shit, dude. I hate being past Triple Invis because it's a lot. You can't even take time to rest. It is immediately into a wall kick section, and this batch of hard jumps does not end. From Invis Thins to now, we are still going with no chance to just rest and take a break. You're going right into the Thin Arch Tower, which is an extremely awkward series of jumps where the only real consistent way to do it is to pause buffer to buffer a down input to arch every time. But even then, this jump is really finicky, and it's possible to hit the edge of the wall very easily, or even worse, bonk off the ceiling by hitting the edge of the ceiling. And on top of that, there's a curl mame up here. This was a very clean thin arch tower, which was done incredibly quickly, but you can get stuck on that jump for quite a while and die to it. It isn't a super dangerous jump, it's a super annoying jump, and once you get past all of that, you would at least have the faith that if you were playing Star 5, you would be close to the end. But this is not Star 5, this is Final Tragedy 120s, so we are not close to the end. There's still 10 more minutes to go of pressure from being past triple invis, knowing that you've only been past triple invis 3 times in your entire life, and 2 of those times you're playing Star 5. So yeah, I hate this jump. I hate what this jump does to the stage, but I also kind of love it because it's kind of amazing and I think it looks really cool. But also I mostly hate it. It's like 90% hate and like 10% love. So yeah. Fuck this game, but also this game's awesome. So here we have this kind of awkward arch. What you're going to notice about a lot of the jumps past triple invis is that they're kind of the worst jumps that you could ever do with nerves. Thankfully I actually didn't have nerves for most of this. While there was obviously a lot of pressure and I was very quiet and considerate, I guess, just trying my hardest to focus, I actually was not really, I wasn't really nervous until I got to the near the end when I was doing the final wall kick section, and I mean, it's pretty obvious why I was nervous if you see the wall kick section, because it's a pretty unfortunate wall kick section to have to do at the end of a star. But first we have to do some QSODs. There's actually quite a bit of QSODs. Last time we saw QSODs was really at the start of the star, so there's more of them now. Enjoy them, we all love QSODs. Get across this. Now if you remember Star 5, if we were doing Star 5 we would go across into that hole and that would take us to the Star 5 area where there's some pretty simple jumps to get across. But we're actually not going to go there because we need coins. So instead of going there, we're instead going to go across these slopes, and if you see, there's actually this entire cone section dedicated for this. It's worth noting that these cones are actually not slippery. It is very easy to slip off them because they're small and obviously very steep, but they're actually not themselves slippery. The texture is a normal slope texture. So you don't need to worry about it too much. Compared to some of the slopes earlier in the star, like where we had those blue slopes or that amp section where there was slippery ground, this is a lot easier to manage. But remember, you need to be on your toes, because the smallest slip can result in you getting a ton of speed and flying off. Keep in mind that every time you jump off a slope, I need to be conscious of a 5-frame window where I can input the A button for a slope jump and have the game eat that input, because you need to be on a slope for 6 frames to jump off it. And if you push A during those first 5 frames, no jump happens. So you need to be very, very conscious of that, which is very difficult to do because it's very easy to think too much. So my number one advice for the star, and the number one thing that helped me get through this and not choke past triple invis in this grind, is focus on the jump that you're doing. Don't think about what's coming next, because I really had to think about that, because in my head, before even getting the star, I was literally jumping around my room in excitement, thinking about the possibility of beating Dream Edition, of getting 180 stars. And when you're in an attempt, you're going to feel that more than ever. So the number one thing you need to do is you need to not think about what's going to happen when you get the star, or what's the jump coming up next, or what's going to kill you. You need to think about what you're doing. You need to think about what can go wrong with what you're doing. You need to think about how to avoid it, and you need to focus. Focus is going to stop the nerves, and it's gonna get you the skills you need, man. I know I'm kind of becoming the pastor preaching to you about, Mario gods, but that's really what you need to do. This grind is this kind of grind is hard, and it's very easy to die to nerves. So you really need to employ these tactics to avoid nerves. And the number one thing is just focus on the jump you're doing. Don't think about what's gonna happen when you get the star, and most importantly, just remember what you've practiced. Do what you've practiced. Do what's safe, and have a little bit of confidence. Don't be scared. Don't be scared to keep going. I don't like taking breaks mid-attempt because I feel like that messes up my flow. I feel like I play best when I can just play continuously and just keep going, because I can develop a sense of rhythm. I can get a sense of a feel for the jumps. I don't like having to take breaks or stop mid-star. That's what's going to spike my nerves. And in this star, yeah, I can just kind of keep going. I don't have to stop at these QSGs. I don't need to stop on safe ground. I can just go. And it's obviously not going very fast because it's fucking QSGs, but it's something. It keeps me active, and it keeps me focusing on gameplay rather than the attempt. Which is why I don't like taking breaks, because I think when you take a break mid-star, you're thinking about the attempt. You're not thinking about what jumps you're doing. You're not thinking about what you need to do to survive. You're thinking about the attempt, and that's getting you distracted, and that's going to make you die. Now, obviously, everyone's different. If you take breaks mid-star, and that helps your nerves, more power to you. It's just, for me personally, it doesn't work, and I want people to be aware that not every strategy is going to work for everybody, so try things out, you know. Obviously, it's very hard to control nerves because nerves are not something you can easily practice. To be nervous, you need to be in a situation where you can get nervous, and you don't get those every day, so, you know, you need to be careful about what you do, and you need to try out different strategies. If something's not working for you, try a different technique, because you never know what's going to be the thing that helps you with your nerves, and nerves are the biggest battle of them all. Here we have this infamous jump, this infamous meme jump. If you don't know, this jump used to be, these walls used to be farther apart, which requires 72 firsties to get across. At least that's what we thought. It doesn't actually require 72 firsties to get across. If you get enough firsties, you can get across with a good firstie ratio. I explained that term in my BTDF Reds video, but regardless, it's still pretty dumb to do on the original versions. Thankfully, it was nerfed. These walls are still very far apart though, but you can gain height on them without firsties. But you might notice that it's not a whole lot of height, and in the mid jump I'm actually losing a lot of height, which, if you think about the logistics of an arch, that actually creates some problems, because now there's a situation in which Mario's like losing all this height before he arches. So this leaves you on this arch on top with two choices. The first choice for this arch on top is to do an arch into an arch, which essentially using an arch to gain height, and then on the fallback down you arch again. This, however, is very risky because it runs a very high chance of getting death pixeled, which is when you hit the edge of a wall and bonk but are unable to wall kick. So I opt for the safer strategy, which is pause buffering firsties to get more speed, so that way there's negligible height loss. This strategy is really fucking nerve-wracking, and this is the jump where I got my nerves, because under all this pressure, I had to be acutely aware of Mario's position to arch, while also avoiding the death pixel, while also grinding firsties, while also knowing very consciously that this attempt is literally like a once-in-a-lifetime thing. You know, maybe not actually once in a lifetime, because I've gotten multiple attempts like this, as in attempts past triple invis, but, you know, I had not gotten an attempt as good in this entire grind, and I'm already here, which is like, yeah, that's pretty fucking good, and realistically, like, you're not gonna get many of those. That's really hard to do. So being under that like very aware situation where like you just know all the consequences of everything, it's like it's a lot to deal with. So I got very upset because I wanted this jump to be over. I didn't want this feeling to drag, and I'm very happy and to a degree lucky that I managed to get this, because I was getting annoyed and I was getting impatient. And that's not what I need during that jump. I need to stay calm. And I was losing my calm. But here we are, nearing the end. Yeah, this QSD section is not too bad. There's a Kuromame here, but it's pretty easy to avoid him. I actually almost died to him right there because I was a little too far back. But it's not a big deal. It ended up working out, so no worries here. And that's pretty much the end of the star. Honestly, in the 30 minutes that I have to commentate the star, I am not able to say everything I feel. I'm not able to talk about every jump while also talking about my emotions about Dream Edition, how I feel to finally beat the game, and, you know, how much pride I take in this accomplishment. But at the very least, I can say that it means a lot to me how many people have been here, you know, every single day watching the streams, you know, watching all the progress, who've been proud of what I've done and stuff. That means a lot to me. I'm very happy about that. And yeah, I wish I was better at speaking. I wish I could communicate my thoughts better. I wish I had any sort of understanding, in fact, of how I feel, so that way I could do these things. And I wish I could make a better video. I wish you know, I want a lot of things, but I think at the end of the day I can be satisfied with who I am and what I've done in this game, which matters more to me than, like, it matters a little bit more to me than, you know, concretely what this accomplishment is. You know, the fact that I've managed to build a pretty successful stream. I might get partner one day, and I've accomplished this much in the situation I'm in, and I'm so happy doing it. So, yeah, I'm kind of out of things to say, but at the same time, there's so many more things I want to say, so many things I can't say because I don't have the words for them, and that's really about it. Enjoy the end of this attempt, and enjoy watching Dream Edition get beaten from Final Tragedy for the first time ever. Bye, everyone. Oh, praise God. Do not give me some crazy RNG. You almost fucking gave me some crazy ass RNG. Go fuck yourself. Holy shit. You finally ended all the journeys and reached here. The strongest enemy stands on the under end of this pipe. This will also be the last time you see that damned familiar painting further down the pipe. This is the final warning. You won't be able to come back after entering the pipe. Be careful. I just want to say, regardless of whatever happens, I don't know if I'm going to beat Dream Edition. This game's insane, and the last 2 stars are insane. But we're here. I'm very happy that we're here. We're gonna have to do Reds in a separate attempt, Pikachu. Reds was over since like 20 coins in, man. The fact that we got this far is amazing, and whether or not it'll be me or someone else to carry on the torch to finish this game is incredible. I want to thank everyone who got us this far. Really, I really do. Let's just go further. I would probably be more emotional if I didn't have to take a piss. Thank you so much for everyone. Thank you for everyone who used Pluto T3 Prey, by the way. Saw a lot of Pluto T3 Preys. 180, holy shit. Oh, I did not read the dialogue, did I? Oh, so this Bowser's falling off as fuck. Yeah, goodbye, sir. Okay, alright. Oops. It's the edge. Just come over here. Ooh, this is great RNG. Fortunately, my throws are not as good as the RNG. I can't believe I got it today. I can't believe after such a shit grind, all it took was one fucking good session to get it. Okay, can I hit the throw now? Yay. I was born out of the greediness of mankind. While men exist, so will I. I am proud to say, for the first time ever, Treasure World Dream Edition has been beaten with the second run ending. In 3, 2, 1. Enjoy your work, Andrew. Holy shit. That's fair. Thank you. Oh my god, Minsheep, thank you so much for the 5 gift subs. Sorry, Evilus. Thank you, Lily. I cannot believe it's done, dude. Holy shit. Holy fucking shit. I cannot fucking believe that this is done. I wish I had the words to describe how fucking unbelievably excited I am, dude. I fucking beat Dream Edition, dude. Like, it's not 100%, but I beat Dream Edition. Like 4th or 3rd hardest star. Probably 3rd hardest star, but because like this is probably harder than F2.